Gotta keep on believing. Gonna see the best in me. Best is yet to come.
Allgaier swept the last 2 races. Those were at Richmond, and so he is going to be starting up front. Ross Chastain will join him on row 1. We just don't know yet which lane they are going to choose. Allgaier has that decision in front of him. He said he was going to make it game time when he gets out onto the track.
For the back, Ryan Sieg, Brandon Brown, row 6.
Yeah, you know, Greg Galding there, and the 07 had some really solid runs this year, a lot of different places. Myatt Snyder starting back there. He's been chasing that bubble just a little bit too late.
Timmy Hill back there. He's had some great runs here, 7th here last year. Coming from the back of the field.
There was only one driver in the field that is from Tennessee, or Bristol, obviously, in Tennessee. Knoxville, Tennessee native Chad Fincham will be starting in row 14. And we're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Kyle, who are we going to ride along with first?
I have Ross Chastain and the Nutrien Ag Solutions, and this is our watermelon view right here off the left front bumper of his car. Just about watermelon level, so we're going to see a lot of action out of this before this night's over. We may not see the camera after about halfway, but we're going to see some early action with it.
Justin Haley, the Indiana driver. He's got the leaf filter cam. Check this view out he's going to give us, guys. It's going to be fun at Bristol. Helmet cam. Thank you, Leaf Filter, for doing this for us.
From Huntersville, North Carolina, by way of South Boston, Virginia, driver Harrison Burton will be carrying Toyota cam in his car tonight. Get to see him wheeling on that car with this reverse view. Roof cam on that car as well as a side panner.
And Steve Letarte, we know that you have found another location. Can you hear us, though? It gets awful loud there.
Well, I can hear you with the cars under pace speed. And Rick, I have found a location. When we talk about the challenges of Bristol, you think it would only be on the racetrack, but one of the big challenges is on pit road as well. And it first starts with the driver. There are interesting rules here at Bristol. There's a front stretch and a back stretch pit road. So on the green flag, you only have to run whichever straightaway you're pitting on. If you're on the back stretch, just the back stretch. Front stretch, just the front stretch. In today's race, I only imagine that would happen if you had a mechanical issue. But under yellow, you pit on the entrance of turn 2, and you have to go all the way around, and it is a very long pit road, basically an entire lap. That's very important if you try to repair your car. If you have damage, Rick, you can run out of time quickly. The other issue is quickly the timing right here. Turn 2. That seems simple, but it will jump out at you right away under yellow. Keep your spotter off the radio. If you're a crew chief, be concise. And if we're pitting, tell your driver right away. We have seen drivers lose races here by just missing the entrance while talking on the radio.
So this wouldn't be a good place for those code words that we've heard. Hot dog, hot dog. When the guy has to look up and go, okay, wait a minute, what does that mean? Do I come? Do I wait?
I did that one time. As soon as the caution come out, I'm like, oh man, got to talk about my car. Tony Jr. said, that's great information, but I wanted you to pit with everyone else.
It happens so quickly because you come off turn 4 and a pace car picks you up like Steve was talking about. It picks you up and you're sitting there as a driver talking about the car, what it needs, and then you go past the pit road and you're talking, so the crew chief cannot get in to have the conversation with you.
See, I'm trying to figure out just how much grip that PJ1 might have. They added a little bit of that. If you watched the race here earlier this year, it was really, really dark down there. I don't think, just by looking at it, there is as much PJ1 on the racetrack as we had in the first race this year, so it'll be interesting. That was the dominant groove, and it stayed that way way beyond halfway, way deep into the event. Guys were still running the bottom, and tonight, they may still run that bottom early, but may feed up the racetrack throughout the race.
Look at this pit road right here. So as he drives around the apron of 3 and 4, you have to be careful. You have to, if you go too low in that corner, you can make it so short that you can get caught speeding. And they all know that, so they actually run more RPMs in the corner than they do on the, than they do on the straightaway. Let's see if anybody gets caught speeding by trying to get as much as they can in this part of the racetrack under caution.
And that's what they were doing. They were going to pit road for pit road speed so they could check that. And Dave, let's check in. What about Brandon Jones and that 19 team?
Rick, some career numbers for Brandon this year, but it hasn't been in the laps led category. In fact, he doesn't lead many laps. He just leads the right ones. Think about when he's been in position to win at the end of races. And here in June, he was running third, sitting, waiting. It didn't happen for him then, but he's got a fast race car again this night, we would assume, and Jones could win his 4th of the year. Dylan?
Dave, for Colleague Racing, it's been really a spectacular year. We talked about Ross Chastain and his goals earlier. Here's Justin Haley, the team car. Their goal is to finish 5th in regular season points. Just want to put a period on what's been a really strong regular season so far for the company as a whole. Justin, of course, with 2 wins, he's locked into the playoffs. So tonight they just want to build some momentum and get ready to go next week, but have a good solid run tonight to cap off what's been a really solid regular season for the entire team already.
Before the green flag flies, let's hear a pep talk out of the 10 team, Ross Chastain's team.
Hey man, you know how proud I am of you. All the race fans that are here, we love you. You know what you've done all year? We put you in a hole, time to dig out, and then it's going to be time to step in belt tight. Have fun, be smart, and we'll see you in a little while.
So it was Justin Allgaier who had the decision. If he wanted to go inside or outside, he has made that decision.
Looks like he might be changing it.
Well, yeah, now.
That's why he didn't tell us. That's why he didn't tell us.
He didn't have to make that decision until 1 to go.
No,
So-
right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
outside line was a very popular choice in the first race this year. There was a time that Justin Allgaier actually made the bottom work, not being the car in control of the restart. But that top line is where most of the guys that were controlling the start started all of the restarts for the race early this year. So I think it's a good call because you got a lot of room. You really don't know what that bottom groove is going to be like, whether there'll be grip there or not. Right off the bat, it usually takes a while to activate that PJ1 traction compound. So, and it's cool there.
Yeah.
The Tart says it's cooling off. He's going to put on a couple layers. All is here.
It's going to be interesting to see Chastain here, though, because I've never seen him be conservative on anything. and not knowing what the grip level is. It's going to be interesting on this first corner.
No practice, no qualifying. This is it. First time they'll head into 1. And green flag's in the air. Allgaier throwing it in there.
Justin got a great launch. The 10 spun the tires pretty bad on the inside, but recovered well. The rest of the field seems to be just being very careful. A lot of room between everybody. Very careful to find out what kind of grip's there.
Well, you mentioned it, Junior. All these guys are also figuring themselves out. The G-forces at this racetrack, the battle for the lead, the G-forces are so tough, you have to acclimate yourself to that.
So Justin's been running in the middle groove, being overtaken here by Chastain for the lead, who's running the bottom.
Ross Chastain trying to use the PJ1, and it's working. Chastain out front at Bristol.
Well, if that PJ1 fires off, then it's going to be a battle to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, the 7 missed it. Slipped up out of it right there.
And that's the worst part about the PJ1 is when you count on it, you slide through it, and then you've got to recover.
There's Haley riding along with a helmet cam.
Right here, Harrison and Noah. They have a good battle going on. Noah making that bottom work. Harrison knowing that if that bottom is working, he better get to the bottom. He better get down there because they will line up on him and freight train him.
98 right on the back of the 11. Looking 3 wide here. He's going to think better of it. Lift a little bit going into turn 1. Allow Justin Haley to get back down into the bottom groove.
Yeah, Burton is out there watching him go by. Stuck on the outside right now, and the fast way around Bristol is on the bottom.
The spotter just told him to get in this hole right here. Settle in. Get comfortable riding that bottom here. 98 car back in the back of Haley again. Moves him up out of the way.
Now Haley's on he's going to battle to get to the inside. Harrison going to try to take that from him. Brandon Jones going to try to follow Harrison.
How about that? Early in the race, getting the chrome horn out. You'd think that you'd see that later in the event. Oh, contact there with a 20 again. Haley way up the racetrack.
And now Haley falling back and potentially is going to lose a spot here to Brandon Brown in the 68.
Well, how about Brandon Brown? Running in 8th place right here.
Get in there.
Haley's looking out the windshield at his back bumper now. Heating up again for the lead as Allgaier now has dove down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like he was using that bottom groove and run that 10 car down. Went back to the top to see if anything's there. See how much he lost back to the bottom. Look through the middle of the corner a little bit quicker than the 10 there.
I think right now with that PJ1 starting to activate, I think you want to put those left sides at the bottom of the racetrack, not diamond the corner. Get the left sides as low as they can and run that radius all the way around the racetrack like Ross is doing right there.
11 laps into the race and they're in lap traffic.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy lap traffic.
Yeah, and you talk about the PJ1 and the bottom being the place. Yeah, they're going to search around for a place to run at some point in time, whether it's diamonding the racetrack, whether it's the middle groove or the upper groove. But when you see everybody else lined up in that inside line, you just got to grab a seat, punch your ticket, and get in line.
Guys, I cannot believe this, but these are the first laps Ross Chastain has ever led at Bristol. That's shocking to me. He ran 8th in a truck race last night, so that experience may be playing off a little bit.
Interesting hand placement right there for Ross Chastain. Coming up on heavy traffic here.
The handle of the 7 behind him looks like a handful for Justin Allgaier. He's been all over the racetrack trying to keep it on the bottom.
So much patience is required right here. Oh!
Yeah, spoke too soon there.
Yeah.
But he looks really smooth. You see he's just a little bit of wheel in it. You hear him working the throttle just a little bit through the center to make the car rotate.
how he
and then he can go back to the gas.
Funny how he resets his right hand when he goes in a corner to kind of shove the steering wheel off to the left.
Ross Chastain so hungry for a win. Only 3 times this year he's been outside of the top 10 is finishes, but he's not won in 2020. Still looking for the first win of 2020.
Yeah, Haley's trying to get up the racetrack. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes to get up there and make it work. Parker Kligerman last night at the end of that truck race, he started to make it work way up the racetrack.
Great finish by him last night too, 4th in that truck race. Very impressive. Again, a competition caution in or around lap 40 for the Xfinity Series. Justin Allgaier is going to continue to hunt down the 10 of Ross Chastain. He's been aggressive to start this one. The official app of NASCAR delivers an all-new racing experience for the playoffs. You can customize your car, you can compete head-to-head against Cup Series playoff drivers to earn points Just search NASCAR in your app store and download for free. Start playing today. That's how close 1 and 2 are. Ross Chastain in the 10 has the lead, and Justin Allgaier hasn't let him out of his sights. About 2 car lengths is the furthest that they have been separated throughout the start of this race. Dave.
Guys, wanted to update you on the 0-2 car of Brett Moffitt, who's had some great runs this season with a very small race team. Well, they have had something go terribly wrong tonight, and he was on and off pit road 3 different times, changed the right side tires the first time. It was the right rear. The sidewall on the inside was ripped all the way around twice. He's now 7 laps off the pace, and they think they've got the problem fixed by working that chassis a little bit, but we'll see. Dylan?
And Dave, in front of him on the racetrack, you see Austin Cindric there in the 22 car. Keep in mind here, earlier this spring when we were here last, this 22 car had a mechanical failure, took them out very early in the race. They finished 36. It was their worst race of the year, so they didn't have very much, if any, data coming into this race. Crew Chief Brian Wilson, there you see him, said, I don't really know what we're going to have. Right now, they're just a little bit too free. Not too bad, though, considering it was just sort of an educated guess by these guys, so they don't have much data to lean on.
Holding on to the 3rd spot right now, and with this lap traffic, that has brought Austin Cindric right up into the battle for the lead. It's Chastain, Allgaier, Cindric, Gregson, and Briscoe in the top 5. Then you go back to Harrison Burton, Justin Haley, Brandon Jones, Michael Annett, and Brandon Brown, all in the top 10.
Dave gave us that information about Brett Moffitt with the inside edge of the right rear. Makes you wonder if it was rubbing something around the track bar area. On that inside edge, they were able to make an adjustment there to get it off of that track bar.
Yeah, but then you make the adjustment to get it off the track bar, but how's the thing drive after that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you've made a change to keep from having the tires. But watching Justin Allgaier here, he seems to have found his rhythm. We heard Dale when we first started talking about in the introduction here, talking about getting into a rhythm, and it takes you 30 or 40 laps to figure out where you're at and what you want to do. It seems like Justin has finally found the place where he wants to be. Let the car float off into the corner, rotate through the center, and just smoothly drive straight up off the corner.
And also that mentioned, no practice, right? Look at that 21 car, Anthony Alfredo, that RCR car. Young driver, not a lot of laps here, no practice, and here he has the leaders right on his rear bumper, trying to put him a lap down.
93 of Myatt Snyder is off the track right now as we're coming up on lap 40. And again, I mentioned competition caution there, but only 4 sets of tires, and they know they can go fuel-wise all the way to the end of stage 1. There might not be very many takers coming to pit road at that competition caution.
And Justin Haley, early, he started going backwards a little bit, but now he's gotten by Brandon Jones, gotten by Harrison Burton. Making good lap times. We've been watching his lap time. He's got a fast race car.
And Haley right now in the 6th position. Up front now. The 7 of Allgaier has caught up to the back bumper of Ross Chastain. These two, not a lot of love lost between the 2 of them. There's the competition caution. We've seen before where they've raced each other very aggressively. Steve, I mentioned only 4 sets of tires. Do you see many people coming to pit road here on this competition caution?
I know, Rick. 4 sets of tires is just not enough. I believe what you're going to see are the teams stay out here, stop at the end of stage 1, the end of stage 2, and save a set. So we'll see. I don't think tires are that valuable. We saw them end up winning the truck race last night, but old tires, 50-lap old tires, ran well inside the top 5. I think they'd be better off to stay out, but we'll see what the leaders do.
And right now, only 17 cars on the lead lap. So that determines, I guess, some type of strategy there as well, because if you do come in as a lead lap car, maybe you're anywhere from 10th to 17th and decide to make some adjustments, changes, you only fall back as far as 17th because you'll be able to stay on the lead lap. The 07 of Greg Gaulding will get the free pass for being the highest scored lap down car. So that will actually put 18 cars on the lead lap. And a little bit of rubber going down in that PJ1 you see there. It's starting to stick.
Yeah, it's got really, like you said, it's really black right there. It looks like just the rubber is just laid down completely into it.
As I stand down here on pit road, Rick, a lot of movement with these leaders. It looks like Chastain's crew is ready. We'll see if they call him in. I'd be shocked.
They get the field all lined up behind the pace car.
Steve, just go down there and ask them. They'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, I always loved it when they climbed on top of the pit box, tapped me on the shoulder right when I was in the middle of making a decision.
Well, we saw the 39 of Ryan C. He's making it to pit road. Only two of the lead lap cars came to pit road, one of those being Ryan Sieg. He was too fast, so he actually will go to the back of the field to start this one. And Steve, you're going to be busy on Tuesday. What are you up to?
Man, I can't wait, Rick. Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, myself and Parker Kligerman are going to be covering the NASCAR Coca-Cola Series. These guys are rounding out their regular season, only 2 more weeks before they set their playoff field, and they'll be headed to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You can check out everything at enascar.com, and I'm going to tell you, it is unbelievable what these drivers do. I'm an iRacer myself, and I don't make it look anywhere near this easy. Dale G, you've tried it. Explain to everybody at home how good these drivers are.
Well, the best 40 on the service of hundreds of thousands of people. So they make it look real and they make it look fun. We got a couple guys that race in that series for Junior Motorsports. Coming to a restart here. Justin Allgaier is going to be in the outside line again.
So Chastain actually chose the inside line for the restart. We'll see if it works out for him.
That's interesting because that inside line usually is the one that struggles to go. So if you're the control car, you want to be on the outside to force that inside line to struggle.
Yeah, it struggles on the start. Although actually launching in the restart zone is where it struggles.
And Allgaier clears him. So Allgaier takes the lead back away. Here comes Chastain. He'll fight to the inside, trying to take it back.
That's a fun battle right here. These two guys going at it. I think both of them believe they're racing somebody they're going to have to beat for the championship.
Wow, what a good run off the corner there.
Really good run.
Slides a little bit. Here comes the 10 again.
Oh,
He'll put the bumper to him.
My goodness.
I'm telling you, he's going to wear that camera out on that 10.
I think as laps go, the bottom is getting better for the 10. He's trying to keep that 7 car up there. Noah Gragson coming up on both these guys. Going to try to follow the 10 through. Not going to jump to the top because he's got a lot of guys behind him as well. Chase Briscoe, all of them lined up trying to
sideways was the 10.
Oh, there's a lot of contact back there with the 9. Chase Briscoe, all those guys back there checking up.
And that helps Justin because it helps him get back under control entering the corner and not have to force himself to get in the corner and slide up in the middle.
That's a great view.
Justin just needed about that half a car length to be comfortable enough to put a little distance and start to drive away, try to put some laps together. Noah Gragson now stuck on the outside, losing a few spots here.
Yeah, Briscoe's moved up to 3rd. Cindric back up to 4th now.
But when that guy's right on your bumper, you're going to slide up the racetrack. You can't. You look in the mirror and you see nothing but windshield. You're going to overdrive it.
Does the gauge bother anybody other than me that's red?
That's just a warning.
Okay.
That is a distraction. Why is that red?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking, why is that a different color?
Take that red gauge and throw it out of here.
Those gauges are just a suggestion. They don't mean anything. It's
I was
just
going to say, you looked at them?
It's a distraction, man.
Exactly right.
Don't make them turn red unless they're in trouble.
This is old school Bristol right here, guys. Look where the line is. I mean, we're following along on this leaf filter cam. Justin Haley down the back straightaway. Watch what he does. He aims for that bottom, keeping the left front tire right on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the goal right now. That's where all the grip is. Not 2 inches off the bottom, not 2 feet off the bottom, but the left side tire is right at that apron.
You could probably run that 22 down if that gauge wasn't red, distracted him.
And this view is so perfect to explain to the fans, and we've heard it so many times from drivers. You guys get a little disoriented as to what end of the track you're on. Because I'm telling you, when we're riding along right now with Justin Haley, I don't know if I'm in turn 1 or if I'm in turn 3.
Well, I never had that problem as a driver, but I know what you mean. I took a lot of people for ride-alongs this week, and every one of them told me that. They're like, man, I was lost after a lap. I didn't know which corner we were in. Let's listen to the 11 car, see what they're talking about.
You've got more rotor glow than most here, Jay, so just make sure you're not overdoing your entry. Keep hustling it. Y'all notice I tell them to be smooth 1 minute, then 2 seconds later say keep hustling it. Like I'm so mediocre at what I do. I know, as soon as that come out of my mouth, we looked up, thought the same thing.
I'm glad they're having fun.
Yeah. But you know what, and we talk about rotor glow a lot, and I hear you guys talk about it. A lot of times it's just from dragging the brake. It's not really using, you're just dragging it off in the corner and using the brake to set the car. That's not good or bad. I can't say anything. It's not like a Martinsville type braking when you get to this place. It's more a piece, another tool that a driver uses to steer the car and to put the car in where he wants it on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's not a track where you'd hope to be using a lot of brake, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No.
Junior, you said you did ride-alongs, and what was your lap time? By the way, the lap time by Justin Allgaier was 16.535 right there. What was the lap time on your ride-along?
We were running 16 in my ride-along.
Wow.
Is that a driver stopwatch or is that a...
Everybody was wanting out of the car, and I know why now.
What is
Caution.
Caution out.
1650 would have set you on the pole in 1990.
Oh, wow. Big crash on the front straightaway.
Tommy Joe Martin.
Guys, a huge hit right here. I'm standing on the exit of turn 4.
That looked like
shook the entire place.
It looked like it was kind of after the caution had come out.
DJ McLeod, that 6R, look at the right front, how much down, look at the left front.
Yeah.
It's almost
Right
like the
side of that car is smashed.
Yeah, it's almost like the 6 was sitting there and Tommy Joe spun when he saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
you saw
another
the
one
marks.
involved. The 99 has come through here. That was the big contact,
Vinnie
and he went
Miller.
out of sight down in 1 and 2. There you go. Excuse me.
Yeah, Vinnie Miller, you see the damage to the right front of that one. Things happen fast here. We mentioned 16.5-second laps. Contact is made.
Teammates.
Wow.
Oh, that's a hard lick right there.
That's Bristol. That's all this after
44.
the wreck. That's Bristol. I mean, we see it every time.
Yeah.
Oh, just shoots him up the hill, then trying to.
Yeah,
get
JD
it.
Motorsports.
Oh, look at that.
That right there is where they clap together is tough.
Yeah.
That hurts.
And you see Tommy Joe. Tommy Joe comes off, sees it as he comes around right here. Sees it, jumps on the brakes, and the thing comes around on him.
Jeffrey gets into the back of the 6 car here, sends him up the track, over brakes into the wall. 44 trying to get slowed down, spins around, makes hard contact with the inside wall.
In a funny way, Bristol's always like Talladega. There's the original wreck, and then there's another one that comes along after it.
Yeah.
unfortunate for BJ McLeod, the driver of the 6. He actually owns a couple of the cars that were involved in this as well. So
Yeah, he drives for one team.
yeah, that
JD Motorsports
owns this one.
This car.
Vinnie Miller's car. So we have gone to caution, and you saw cars parked right there. Team cars running into each other, and then the calamity afterwards.
We'll come back and hear from our O'Reilly Auto Parts pit reporters and give you a full field rundown. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
It's back, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Cam Newton and the Patriots are going to visit Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America. The car starting to roll again. It was a short red flag and obviously an incident taking place. And Steve, you had a front row seat.
I had a front row seat, and those Patriots, hopefully I'll have another front row seat for 2-0 this week. And I was standing over there, the exit of turn 4, right in front of me it happened. You see the contact, you mentioned it. BJ McLeod, the driver for one team, owns another. The 0, I'm not sure if he doesn't know if the 6 is coming down, easily gets into the right, or excuse me, the left rear quarter panel, a hard hit. And then Miller with nowhere to go. And I'm gonna tell you, I heard the first hit into the wall, and then I heard that second hit with Miller. Dale Jr., you talked about that contact door to door. This one is hard, and then this one right here sounded the same in person down here at Bristol.
So the track
Did you copy that, Rick? Did you copy that, Rick? Patriots 2-0. Patriots 2-0.
It's so loud we can't hear everything.
We can't hear it,
Steve.
We can't hear it here.
So you see the 44 going to make his way back onto pit road after being a part of that one. Tommy Joe Martins brings it to the attention of his crew. 15 laps to go in stage 1 of the Food City 300. Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave?
Ryan Sieg pitted under this caution, Rick, in the 39 car. Second time he's pitted. The first time was under the competition caution. They didn't change tires then, but they made big adjustments on the race car. This time, they decided to put on their tires since they were already back in the pack. Probably not going to get any stage points with 18 to go at this point, so maybe stay out and lead in the second stage. What do you think?
Quite possibly. A little strategy being played there. Want to listen in to the 7 radio. Eddie DeHaan, the spotter for Justin Allgaier.
I would have swore I was clear of him there a few times. I don't know. You said quarter, so I'm a little struggling to know what clear is tonight for some reason.
Yeah, if you don't hear me say good or clear, you can't do it. It's too early in the race. I won't take that chance.
Yeah, when you hear a quarter, that's to your quarter panel. You just gotta understand that he's there. You know, one thing I found interesting about that, I didn't like my spotter to change the way he spotted based on what time of the race it was. That was my job to make that decision. I just wanted information.
Yeah.
I could decide how aggressive we needed to be. I didn't like the spotter trying to make that decision for me.
All right, choose rule taking place here. Does anybody benefit? We see a +1 out of Haley.
Not the most boring. It's choose rule caution we've had all year.
Right there.
Yeah. Not much to change.
Okay, so this time Ross Chastain again, he has chosen that inside line. He is the lead control car. Is that a mistake?
Getting ready to find out.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, man, we don't know where it's a mistake until they drop the green flag.
Yeah, I like the outside.
I like the outside too. Well, I like the outside when the 10 spins his tires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm with you on that, and that goes back to what you said before. The outside line seems to launch better.
One of the problems with the inside is if things get bottled up, there's nowhere to go. The outside tends to get stretched out a little bit, and you're actually hoping the guys on the bottom get together a little bit.
Smoking back there in the back. 18 car looks like he's trailing just a little bit of smoke off the back end.
Yeah, he's one of those cars that went to the outside, gained a few spots doing it.
Looks clear now. Could be a little tire smoke early. Clears itself.
Allgaier taking advantage of that outside line, and Haley followed him along, and so Haley now has moved up to the second spot.
I think Haley's got a fast race car tonight, guys. Remember how well he ran at Richmond as well. As that team started to get hot right before the playoffs.
Oh, contact right there with the lap car.
Yeah, Gregson got into the 44. Again, Tommy Joe Martin's a little bit of a run-down car now after he was involved in that last incident.
Oh, what? That was pretty hard contact.
It was. Yeah. I will not be surprised if that doesn't create some issues. He's hanging in there right now.
Tommy Joe was trying to get out of the way, but Gregson just kind of forced it in the middle there. If you watch it, Tommy Joe's up.
Yeah, he looked like Gregson got loose.
Yeah.
He just lost the back of his car. Yeah, right there. Just lost control of his car.
Trying to get back into his rhythm following Brandon Jones in the 19.
And listen, I run a lot of races here just like Jeff and Dale have. When you have trouble and you're a lap car, there's no place to hide. There is no place to get out of the way when the fast cars come.
So Allgaier is out front. Haley, Chastain, Briscoe, and Cindric top 5. Dylan.
Guys, wanted to talk quickly about Brandon Brown, who runs just outside the top 10. You see him there in the 68 car. He's in a position here, if everything goes according to plan, to lock himself into the playoffs for the first time. Kind of an interesting story with him. Started in go-karts in his home state of Virginia, then started racing late models before moving into the NASCAR national ranks. He just recently moved to North Carolina to be closer to his race shop, and Doug Randolph, as crew chief, said that's been an incredibly positive change for this team the last couple months, just keeping Brandon embedded in the sport, having some more natural conversations in the shop about how to improve the program. I think it showed because they're in a position as a very, very big underdog to be in the playoffs and contend for a championship.
Yeah, he told us anytime they finish top 10, that's like a win. For our team, if we finish top 10, it feels like we've just won the race.
Yeah, I love this guy's story. He's come onto the series just in the last couple of years, and it's very competitive. They work hard for a very small team. Great to hear some background on where he came from, who he was before he got here. how he honed his craft, you know, to get to this point and be competitive.
He told us this week that the apartment that he lives in, they closed the gym, so he's not able to do that. He said, but I need to get out and run and get my heart rate up to what it's going to be like during a race. I want it to be at that level because I know I've got to make decisions with my heart rate at that level.
Yeah, and listen, as
here's a heart rate changer right here.
That's a heart rate one. But you know, young drivers should be at the shop. I can't tell you how many times I went over to Burton's place and Harrison was in there hanging out with the cars. We all grew up with the cars. That's where you learn that this is a team sport and you're a part of it.
Chastain falling back a few spots into 5th. 9 car of Gregson working that back bumper. The 19 car of Brandon Jones.
How aggressive does he get we're coming up on the last couple laps of stage 1?
He's been hammering on it. Jones is going to let him go. Let's see. Jones returns the favor. Going to settle in.
And this is tough for Ross Chastain because Chastain was just 3 points back of Chase Briscoe entering this race, and there's going to be stage points that will be given. White flag now for stage 1, or white-green flag. So that does it for stage 1. Allgaier continues his winning ways. Allgaier, after winning both races at Richmond, comes out and wins stage 1. But again, points so important. Chastain Briscoe fighting for 2nd in points for the regular season. Allgaier continuing to rack up his playoff points. Another one there. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. Pit road open, and here comes the lead lap car. And it will be led by Justin Allgaier. Dylan?
Austin Cindric will be the very first stall here on the back straightaways. He hits his marks, reporting that he's just overall a little bit too free, just desires a little bit more grip, so they're going to go around and make a 4-tire change as well, just an air pressure adjustment on the 22 car. At the head end of the backstretch pit road, it's the Colleague Racing Cars, Justin Haley. He's reporting that he's free entry, really tight in the center right now, though. 4 tires and fuel for him as well. Ross Chastain just needs help with front turn in the center of the corner. To the front stretch, and Dave Burns.
Noah Gragson gave up 6th place to pit in that number 9 car. They'll be good to get that right front off and make sure that wasn't damaged in that contact. His car was a little bit loose landing. The 98 car of Chase Briscoe in the middle, still just a bit free, but he found something himself on the track to run faster. As for Justin Allgaier, the stage winner, he needed more rear security entering the corner to get a chassis adjustment. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They're all full of Sunoco fuel and heading off pit road, Rick.
Yeah, he wins the race off the pit road. Cindric, though, grabs a couple spots. And how about Josh Williams? Well, no tires. That's going to get a lot of spots there. Well, you can go inside the headset with access to NASCAR Scanner for only $4.99 during the playoffs. You can listen in on pit strategy, spotter communications. Just log into the app to use on mobile devices. Visit NASCAR.com/scanner. All right, Steve, what'd you see differently down there on pit road?
So the things we knew, but perhaps you just don't notice, as I walked pit road during that first round of pit stops, I was looking for the crew chiefs, looking for Jason Burdett on top of the Allgaier pit box. He was nowhere to be found. I looked down, he's on pit road, ready to roll a tire in and catch a tire. Why that isn't a big deal to help with the pit stop. What really shocked me is, remember, it's the crew chief's responsibility to call his car out of the pit box. So as Allgaier tries to blend in this traffic to find his way back on pit road, Jason Burdett, Jeff Mendering on the 19, all of these guys are calling the pit exit from down on pit lane. Very poor view. It'll be interesting to see as traffic gets stacked up on pit road if that affects somebody later in the night.
Yeah, what that does is that just puts more pressure on the spotter. You know, normally the crew chief's going to have to clear a guy, but if you're down there trying to catch tires, there's no way you can be watching what's coming down pit road to gauge whether or not to send your guy out or not.
Brian Sieg chooses the inside line for this restart.
And Sieg had come on lap 66. That's why he was able to stay out under this caution.
Those tires steer pretty good. I think it's a great choice by those guys to cycle forward and get all this track position back they lost from pitting early.
And I had mentioned the fact that Williams came off of pit road very well. He had changed tires before on the previous caution. Sieg firing from the bottom. Jumps out in front of the 7. Now here comes Allgaier battling back on the outside.
Haley jumping to the bottom, trying to make it 3 wide. Going to make it work. That's going to open that bottom lane up.
That 92 of Josh Williams stuck in the middle right now. Nowhere to go. They're going on either side of him. Riley Herbst in the 18 just went on the high side. Here comes Chase Briscoe right on the back bumper of the 22 of Cindric.
Sieg had his hands full right there, really loose, entering the corner. That 39 car leading that outside lane.
They're all lined up on the inside. He's got Chastain on the outside pushing him.
Chastain trying to muscle his way to the bottom.
Yeah, he's trying to go through the middle if he can. Chastain losing more and more positions.
Chastain
running out of patience.
And he's in this position because he had a 21-second pit stop, and he lost all that time on pit road, so he was back. He got hung on the outside. You know he's just chewing on that steering wheel, trying to get around those guys.
Harrison Burton to the inside of him now. And Ross Chastain has fallen all the way back to the 8th position. This will be 9th now.
Now he's just got to go back to work. So frustrating.
Allgaier continuing to lead. 50 laps led already. And now Austin Cindric has moved up to 2nd. Briscoe 3rd. Gregson and Justin Haley. Take a look at the 11 here. Got into the back of the 92. That was early on, and then Williams started falling back. Ryan Sieg got into the back of Briscoe.
Briscoe contact with a wall,
yeah.
The right rear. The 22 car is catching his 7. Cindric with a lot of speed here. The Penske car's really got short run speed, whether it's the Xfinity car or the Cup car, and at the short tracks. He's running down Justin Allgaier.
The Xfinity Series is dominated by Chevrolets, but there are 2 Fords that aren't teammates but almost consider themselves teammates, and that's Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe. When we talked to Chase earlier, he said, you know, he isn't a teammate, but as far as the blue ovals go, we kind of look out for each other. As you see Haley falling back, looks like he has a problem.
You wonder what it could be.
Hold to get in, step it over the back. After the 92, 2 back, get to the bottom. One more, get in.
It might be that gauge on the bottom that we saw earlier.
Looks like he's maybe got a right front tire flat. Hard to see.
He was 5th, Dylan.
They believe it's a right front flat, so they're obviously bringing him down pit road, but I believe that is what they did, and you can see it there. It does look like the right front is low, so they're going to bring him down here and at least change right side to get that repaired.
Imagine they would try to just change two here and get out as quick as they can. You're going to lose a lot of laps here, potentially lose a couple laps for sure.
Right-side tires changed and back out onto the track he will go.
Although he's locked in the playoffs with wins, he is racing that guy right there, that 7 car, for regular season point position. And also, he's not far ahead of Harrison Burton either. So all these guys are racing to get the best point finish they can, because you're going to get playoff points based on where you finish in the regular season.
And all top 10 finishers of the regular season will get bonus playoff points.
Harrison Burton on the inside of the 19 car, Brandon Jones. Chastain going to try to fill that hole if he can. If they can hold Brandon on the outside here. Back up front, leaders in heavy lap traffic, 3 wide.
Wow.
Man, Cindric really smart there to know he's 3 wide. Give those guys room.
Allgaier still out front. As we talk about the regular season ending after tonight's race, there are the points and how close it is between Briscoe and Chastain. Now it's a 11-point difference between those two where they're running on the track. Every position's worth a point. And again, at the end of the stages, the top 10 all receive stage points.
A lot of lap traffic right here. Guys side by side in front of the 7. That's going to allow Cindric to come up here and put the pressure on the leader.
I love to watch these Xfinity races at Bristol, because they remind me, these are old school Bristol races from the 70s and the early 80s for the Cup cars, where you had 8 or 10 really, really fast cars, and everybody else, you were dodging them all night long. You were trying to get around them. There's always somebody passing somebody. There's always something slowing the leader down, letting the second place, third place car catch up just a little bit to keep him in view, and you don't really feel like you ever just check out on somebody.
We were just watching them, as you were talking about that, go through some of the lap traffic. One of those was Stephen Parsons, son of Phil Parsons. Late uncle was Benny Parsons. And that was one of the difficult things, is Stephen's got to figure out, okay, I know there's cars that are faster on the track than I am. I got to figure out where to get out of their way while they're still racing for this lead.
Good luck on that.
Here's riding along with Chastain again. And after falling back to 7th now, this is the vantage point he has looking forward to Harrison Burton.
This is such an amazing camera to get a view like this. Wish we could run it every week somewhere, but typically we see this at the road courses and the short tracks.
And this 100% at this racetrack shows you where you have to be fast. So you drive in the corner, you can give up a little speed on corner entry, but right here, through the middle of the corner and corner exit, you can see right there Chastain rolled the middle better than the 20 of Harrison Burton, and he gained ground by doing that. Let's listen to those guys.
Yeah, you know what you got on the left front? That's only going to get better for us.
Problem is the track is taking no rubber. Does not change color.
Yeah, copy that.
These guys are in some thick traffic. Briscoe giving the 9 car a little bit of time there. He could be hard on him. Use that bumper a little bit, but he's going to allow him to work through this lap traffic.
That lap traffic really hurt Michael Annett. He got in the wrong lane. The 20 got by him, the 10 got by him, now the 19 of Brandon Jones, and that 21 of Anthony Alfredo, who we saw struggling earlier. Now he's starting to figure the racetrack out.
Yeah, the 1 car jumped through the outside of the 98. They got bottled up on the inside. Bad decision. Oh,
He's hitting the wall hard, Michael Annett. Slamming the wall, and the caution comes out.
19 hit the 08, knocked him up into us.
Joe Graff Jr. in the 08. Saw that one happening. When we talked to Michael Annett earlier this week, he mentioned, you know, being the youngest of 7 kids, you're fighting for things all the time. And he thought that, you know, he just wants to get on that roll like Justin Allgaier got on. He said, I know I can do it. And you hear the frustration. His dad said, just keep at it.
Yeah, the lap traffic there was giving those guys fits, and one jumped to the outside of the 98 a few laps before that. Ended up being a bad move as he got trained by a lot of guys on the inside. Now they're 3 wide. The 19's trying to get around this 18. Doesn't want to lose any more positions. Gets into the back of the lap car.
And Michael Annett doing nothing wrong right there.
No. That's a tough situation to be in. These guys are fighting for everything they can, and they're probably 2 or 3 tenths slower than what the leaders are right now, knowing they're being held up, knowing they got to break through this traffic and get back clear so they can make some time, because it's a 16-second lap. It's a 16.5-second lap. 2 or 3 tenths a lap, next thing you know, that the leader's knocking on your door and you're in 8th or 9th place. So just wrong place, wrong time for Annett in this situation.
Yeah,
Huge hit.
Yeah, that thing's hurt.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of suspension damage he has. They're looking underneath the right front.
The right front A-frames, broken. Probably the mount to the
upper's broke.
Yeah.
I think I'm down here, guys, right behind the one pit, and when I look at the tail of the car, it's covered with fluid. So I can't see the right front that you guys are describing, but some sort of fluid, whether it's oil line or something in the right front, I think it's going to be terminal for the one.
Dylan.
And Justin Haley is back in his, as you can see, the crew is still assessing that right front area. They brought Justin back down because there was some talk on the radio of him just kind of getting shoved out of the groove and up into the marbles near the outside wall. Weren't sure if they had any other issue that came from that, but just kind of wanted to be safe. Felt like they got up in the dirty stuff there and didn't want to have another tire go down.
Things happen fast at Bristol, and when you're on the outside, guy tags your left rear, he corrects and slams into the wall.
Tennessee comes calling. I can feel it in my bones.
Good evening, race fans. This is Bristol! Tennessee. Oh, you really got the best of me.
Bristol, Tennessee. It's obviously the site of tonight's regular season finale for the Xfinity Series. What will also be the end of round one for the Cup Series. The NASCAR America pre-race show starts at 6:30. Countdown to Green 7, 7:30. It will be an elimination race from Bristol, and then NASCAR America post-race show wrapping everything up at 11 o'clock. Listen into the 98 radio.
Edgy, like I'm sure Tim saw the one lap, like I was good and then just snapped me sideways in the center.
Sure, a lot of it has to do with the PJ1 and how cool the temps are. So after this race, we probably need to debrief a little bit with Tim just to try and get our Cup teammates as much information as we can. Track changing a great deal, and I think we're starting to see that. Think about, guys, we just showed Ross Chastain back there running in 6th, and we saw him battling for the lead. And he doesn't have the speed he had when he took off. And then right in front of him, the 20 of Harrison Burton, he was falling back. I think he finished 10th in that first stage, but now he's running 5th. So some cars ran well early that are not running as well now, and vice versa. So we may just be seeing a change in the racetrack.
That and the fact that, you know, as I mentioned at the top of the show, guys, just learning the track, learning what their car can do, how fast their car can go, how it handles, and then also just get up to speed, because this place is so hard, and you leave one corner and you're going into another one over and over and over and over.
Yeah, but we see Allgaier and Cindric. Cindric was 3rd there when the race started. These guys have kept up with the track. It's tough to keep up with a track sometimes and keep your track position at the same time. We saw, I think we saw Ross Chastain have a 21-second pit stop where they made an adjustment. So when you have to keep up with the racetrack and you have to change and you get behind, we've seen it here tonight. It is tough to work your way through traffic because you're in lap traffic, it seems like, from the time they drop the green flag on another segment.
Steve talked about fluid out of the back of the one of Michael Annett. Well, that's what happened here and why the red flag is out. There was oil put down all over the racetrack, so they're going to clean that up. A short night for Michael Annett. He's locked into the playoffs, but this is definitely not how he wanted to end the regular season.
Bristol Motor Speedway by Bryce Marquero with 36 cars. Started this race tonight, 18 rows, and with a bunch of them down here. Jim Miller out, DJ Scott, Mike Snyder, Stephen White, and it looks like Michael Annett, who will not finish through here tonight. Yeah, that's right. Scott Snyder ended at 45 for the angle. That is not quite Saturday. We'll have to talk it. Just to remind everybody, we're back on the air tomorrow night. Get the annual Bass Pro Stock NRA night race. Again, NASCAR using their new formula for qualifying, and Randy Bowden has delivered. And the first time ever three playoff races, which is a lot of stages in on the third place of regular season. But Andy, sit down, that guy, Patrick, and
Welcome back to NASCAR Xfinity action here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Food City 300 under red flag, guys. Been a pretty fun race. A couple of red flags, though, breaking up the action. What have you guys seen so far, Kyle?
You know, a lot of aggression. In an Xfinity race, you've got to make something happen. And we've seen guys move people out of the way for 8th and 9th place, move lap cars out of the way just to clear the way so the next pack could get through. Which is really surprising when we talk about these guys needing stage points and needing points to move on.
Jeff, you've ran a lot of Xfinity races at this racetrack, cup races as well, but that aggression was no different back then. So as a driver, you know, when you see those guys out there getting into trouble early, Michael Annett having a problem that's going to take him out of the race, what are you thinking? Are you trying to remain calm, trying to help yourself figure out how to get to the end of these 300 laps?
Yeah, I think going into Bristol, that was always my mindset, is you have to get to the end of the race. And you know you're going to be in the middle of combat. You know you're going to be in the middle of all sorts of stuff. And you almost give yourself a little bit of room between you and the guy in front of you. But what we've seen tonight that's so different than what we've been seeing in the past is the bottom lane is by far the fastest. So far we've had an old school Bristol where to get by somebody, you have to get up there and nudge them a little bit. And we've seen some of that. And of course we've seen the cautions because of it. And what ends up happening is as you get roughed up and get moved up off the bottom, it makes you mad. And then you rough up the guy in front of you. And then as this goes on, you get madder and madder. And then of course we get more and more cautions. So it's going to be interesting to see if that second lane ever gets formed, because right now it is just the bottom. Whatever you got to do, be on the bottom.
Well, one car, Michael Annette, dropped a lot of a fluid on the racetrack after contact with the wall. NASCAR is cleaning that up now. Let's head down to the pits to Dylan.
And, Junior, we saw Justin Haley in the pits for that unscheduled green flag stop about 15 laps ago. And they had the right front go down initially, and then he came down the second time, and they had the right front going down again. At least that's what Justin felt. So here's kind of the problem. Obviously, they don't really know why the right front continued to go down, or that sensation is entering the cockpit. So they're going to have to bring Justin back down here and put the car up on jack stands. And what they think the problem may be is even when he's turning the car, it's almost like it's turning so much that it maybe is cutting the tire, cutting down just a little bit of it. That's maybe creating some sort of slow leak or some sort of issue. So they're going to bring him down here, put the car on jacks to try and diagnose it a little bit more. But the bigger problem is now they don't have a full set of sticker tires left. They've cut so many of them down that they're running out of them, Steve.
Well, you mentioned the issues for the 11. To compound that, remember, Colleague Racing has another car here, Ross Chastain in the 10. I mentioned that to Chris Rice, and he had some concern on his face. He was heading to the 10 pit to look at their right front tires. We've yet to get any sort of report that they have the same issue, but he thought these cars were basically set up identical. So if it is a suspension issue, maybe a sway bar arm, something that's making contact on the Haley car, unless it was some damage on the racetrack that we have yet to see, they're going to have to check that 10 of Ross Chastain to see if we have the same issue. But guys, you mentioned the lap cars. I'm telling you, here in person, it's as bad as I have ever seen the speed discrepancy. So there's just nowhere for these cars to go. KP, you talk about there's nowhere to hide. Well, I'm going to tell you, when it's 15 mile an hour different, there's just nowhere for them to get out of the way fast enough.
No place to get out of the way. So we'll see if when pit road is open, if we see anyone diving onto pit road. It's 47 to go in stage 2. Dave?
We're with Michael Annette now out of the infield care center. Michael, you told us this week there would probably be fireworks. You didn't expect to be a part of that. How fast did that all happen?
Yeah, I mean, it happened fast, but, you know, we came in this weekend knowing we're in the playoffs, obviously, and just looking for that race win and getting those 5 points to carry us into the playoffs and carry those through the rounds of playoffs. So this one, it stings when you have a car that fast. I told Travis after the wreck, a race-winning car. You know, came in here with all the confidence in the world, being a part of Junior Motorsports and how fast our cars are here. Justin showing that. Was running right there with Noah, and, you know, it's just, I kind of kicking myself. I put myself in the bad position felt like 10 laps before that wreck actually happened. Thought I could kind of snooker Noah and whoever he was running with and get to the outside, and we're just playing chess with lap cars, and I made the wrong move, obviously.
Very easy to do here. It happened really quick, Dylan.
And Justin Haley has made his return to pit road. So you see them jacking up the car. They've got a jack stand that'll go underneath the frame that they can then lower the jack and just set the car down on. So they're focusing obviously on the right front. That's been where the issue has been. And again, not sure if there's some sort of rub that is causing these tires to go down, but trying to get a better glance and a better set of eyes on what exactly the problem is, and then also stay on the lead lap. So not sure if they figured anything out there. They may have to bring him back down because the pace car is coming in a hurry.
Didn't want to lose a lap there, so they dive off of pit road to go back out onto the track. We'll be back for the restart after this. The 120th U.S. Open continues tomorrow from Wingfoot Golf Club in New York. Round 3 coverage on NBC begins at 11 a.m. Eastern with early bird coverage streaming on Peacock starting at 9 a.m. We'll have about 3 cups of coffee already by then. Patrick Reed leading. He's 4 under. There are only 6 golfers right now that are under par. That's just how tough Wingfoot Golf Club is. And it is playing difficult for everyone. But Patrick Reed had a hole-in-one yesterday. At 4 under, he is leading the field.
And Rick, if this afternoon is any telltale sign, I'm going with no one under par come Sunday afternoon. That course had dried out and firmed up, and the rough is not getting any shorter.
You know what I enjoyed? We call it NASCAR nonstop. They call it playing through.
That's amazing. Like the professionals play like you guys do, not
Rick, you would need 2 cases of golf balls to finish there. 2.
They're losing golf balls, and they see where they land. That's how deep the rough is there. All right, the choose rule in effect here, and we'll populate as the drivers choose.
A lot of people chose the bottom right there.
Yeah, they did.
Jeff Burton, he's like, I'm going to go to the top.
Jeff Burton, this last week, got an elk. Was out in Montana bow hunting. Out there with Brandy and got like a 12-point. It was a big buck.
Did you post a picture of it?
He did.
From your, no, did
I
you?
didn't.
From your backyard?
No. Those are my deer that I feed. Those aren't, nobody can come and hunt those. Those are friends of the family.
That's sad.
We can talk later, Rick.
That's sad. That's sad.
Coming up on 41 laps to go in stage 2. Things happening fast here at Bristol. Allgaier on that outside line. He's the control car. Noah Gregson in the 9. Trying to make that outside line work for him. Austin Cindric moves up the racetrack.
If you pick that outside lane, you better make it work right now, because if you don't, they're going to line up on you.
And you say that as Harrison Burton is stuck out right now just outside of 4th.
Yeah, there's really nowhere to go, right? Look how close everybody is on that bottom lane. He took a gamble by picking that top. See if he can make it work.
Will there be an opening? Can he make it work? Right now working on the outside of Chase Briscoe.
I think he's doing a good job out there making that outside line seem competitive.
There comes Ross Chastain as well in the 10.
And he sees right there in front of him a space to get in front of this 98 if he can clear him. The 9 car was there before, but now there's a gap.
Now the spotter needs to be yelling, behind you, and sometimes you just got to give that spot up. Try to find in, get in behind the guy. Ross Chastain, his mission is to not let that happen, no matter what. Do not give that bottom up.
Briscoe. Harrison Burton fighting for position here. And Chastain doesn't want to open the door either.
Now, inside. Spotter needs to be yelling. Oh, Harrison, aggressive.
Man. Harrison's not going to give up on that outside groove. Looks like this is going to be it, though.
Great cross over.
Listen, great job by Harrison, though, sticking it out, hammering it, just keep doing what he was doing, and then be able to take the position back.
Chastain gets into the back of him, and up the track he went.
So what happened right there was that Harrison he was on the rhythm of running that top lane, and he drove into turn 3 and tried to carry too much speed, and he lost the bottom, and Chastain took it from him. So now Harrison's got to back his entry up, get that thing on the bottom. Don't give the bottom up. You're just going to have to slow it down and get on the very bottom of the racetrack.
How does this work?
Yeah, Cousins right here. We've got Jeff Burton going by Harrison Burton.
But, you know, and Jeff just explained it. It's a lot easier to say it than it is to do it, because you're charging that corner, trying to stay on the outside, trying to make something happen. And then when you do get that inside lane, you have to back it up. You have to let the car float off in the corner, rotate through the center. Dave.
Watching that blue car, the number 8 of Jeff Burton, coming off a fantastic finish last week at Richmond on Saturday. Finished second. By the way, his cousin finished in the top 5 too. That's the first time that's happened to a pair of Burton since 2001. Tonight they had a jack fail on that first stop, and he restarted 15th. He's driven all the way back up into the 6th position, so Jeff is on fire on the short tracks, Dylan.
And Dave, we saw him battling with Harrison Burton there, and he's finally found his rhythm again and back in the bottom of the racetrack. Just talking before today's race with his crew chief Ben Bayshore, he mentioned how much Harrison has improved over the course of the season. Said he's always been fast, but it's just the little nuances of what make you successful that he's improved on. And obviously this is a tricky place, so learning every time he's on the racetrack, but doing a nice job so far running in the 8th spot. And also just quickly, guys, we talked about Myatt Snyder and his issues a little bit earlier. They had a rock come in underneath the race car and puncture the oil pan, and then just opted to bring that car in. Remember, that's a team car to Ryan Sieg, so don't want to jeopardize anything with his playoff opportunity chances, so just opted to bring the 93 car in and park it for the night.
So as we're watching Harrison Burton, and we just heard the story there about the Burtons. Jeff, I want to ask you, we talked with Kyle Busch a week ago, and he said he is a terrible racing dad. Brexton is racing now, and he said he's horrible as far as being a racing dad. How difficult is it for you, Jeff, to watch Harrison out here and maybe almost calling out a mistake that your son's making?
It's not, it used to be hard because I used to think I could control things, and I realized I can't. And, I can influence and try to help, but at the end of the day, it's Harrison. It's Harrison's career. It's Harrison driving it, not me. And once I realized that, it got easy. Now I watch as a dad and watch as a fan, and and we don't, Harrison and I don't talk racing that much. And see a good battle right here. We really don't talk about it that much. We talk about other things, and actually it's a lot easier like that.
Teammates fighting for position here. So Riley Herbst in the 18, both driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Harrison Burton on the inside.
Riley's holding him pretty tight here. Harrison has to be really careful not to check the back end, get loose, slide up into his teammate, but he does want this position contact.
So
now he got a little loose there.
Yeah, get out of it.
Oh, more contact.
Look at this.
Oh, door.
Big
Wow.
contact now.
Patient, be patient.
And
Don't take
patience
yourself
comes out.
Get in the rhythm, get back to his bumper.
That's a spotter for the 9 car. Trying to back his driver down. It was interesting little trade there of blows. But the 9 car gets in behind the 98 here. Chastain gives him a bumper, moves him up the racetrack, tries to take the spot as well. Noah did not like that. Lets him kind of know, hey man, I'm not going to be one of those guys you can put the bumper to just whenever you want.
Chastain's been aggressive all night. You wonder as these playoffs are approaching if Chastain has decided, look, I want to step it up. And I haven't won a race this year, and I'm going to step it up. And if you're in front of me, I need to move you. I'm going to move you.
I love the aggression from both of those guys. I just don't want anybody to cut a tire down. I think that's the only thing I'd be concerned with. Making that kind of contact is getting a flat tire early, going a couple laps down.
Yeah, look at the left rear with the paint's worn off the left rear on Chastain's car right here.
Under 19 to go. Allgaier out front, Cindric running second, Briscoe is third, Chastain fourth as we go NASCAR nonstop. Allgaier, 113 laps led already at Bristol as there are just 9 laps to go in stage 2. All right, Steve, I want to throw you a quick question about the 10. Too aggressive early?
Well, I don't know if you can say it's too aggressive, but we talked to Ross Chastain 2 weeks ago. I point blank asked him if he's okay with the reputation of an aggressive driver, and he didn't shy away at all. He says, I don't ever try to wreck anyone. I don't drive into the corner thinking I'm going to hit them. I just drive to the comfort level in which I've been raised by, and that's aggressive. That's on their bumper. And if contact's made, I'm okay with that. So, Rick, while I don't love his aggression, I absolutely love his owning it. And if he's willing to own it on a Wednesday on a Zoom call with us, then I think he has the right to drive however he wants, as long as he's okay with people racing him the same way.
Yeah, and I'll say that's the big statement right there, or the big question is he okay when people do the same thing to him? If you're okay with that, then more power to you, buddy. More power to you. If you've got thick enough skin to know that if you're going to give, you got to take. You got to dish, you're going to take. And Chastain so far has had that reputation. He'll take it. Now, he may be mad about it, but he'll take it. But he has dished it all night long. Everybody he gets to, they know he's there.
Is that what your dad used to do, Junior?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the intimidator. When you'd see him coming, they knew.
Yeah.
His style, Ross's style reminds me a lot of that, especially at a place like Bristol. Ross has used that bumper a lot tonight, get guys off the bottom, and that's really what people want at Bristol.
Yeah.
That's kind of Bristol people want. We need drivers that are willing to use each other up a little bit. Not everybody needs to be doing that, but we need a couple drivers with that personality.
But I have to say, Dale's dad, and I raced against him a long time, never complained. But the maddest I ever saw him was with Bill Elliott here at Charlotte at the Winston that time. But the thing is, and I saw his dad win his first race here at Bristol. I was on my dad's pit crew when his dad ran. And that's the way you had to drive Bristol at that time. And that big old Monte Carlo that would just flop around, it was all in the springs and those shocks, you had to move people out of the way. You couldn't give anyone an opportunity to get position on you.
Get out the broom. Justin Allgaier looks to be sweeping the stages at Bristol. 12th stage win of 2020. He's the winningest stage winner of the year, and Allgaier has won stage 1 and stage 2 now. That's 2 more playoff points for him. The momentum is on his side. He went back-to-back for the first time ever in his career, winning Richmond. And now looking for 3 in a row, which he's never done. The longest stage in front of us, but so far it has been dominated. This race has been dominated by Justin Allgaier. He's led 125 laps already. There's 127 laps remaining. And now they're headed to pit road. The crew under the spotlight, Dylan.
And once again, Austin Cindric will pull into his box number 1 here on the back straightaway. Said that the balance started out pretty good, and then just as the run went on, it was a little bit more unstable. So right side tires going on, a bit of a hiccup there as it looked like the tire got caught on the front bumper. So 4 tires in fuel for Cindric. Further up pit road, Harrison Burton, a chassis adjustment, half a round down on the right rear track bar, 4 tires in fuel for him. And Ross Chastain there in the bottom of your screen. Good balance as well, but just needs more rotation, Dave.
Noah Gregson's number 9 was too loose on entry. Then the rear tires seemed to go away on late exit. That's him pitting on the top of the screen. Middle of the screen, the 98 of Chase Briscoe can't get in the corner at the start of the run, but towards the end he can, so they need to fix the beginning of the run for him. And the winner of 2 stages in a row, the lap leader on the season for the series, Justin Allgaier, says it's just a little too tight at the 3/4 mark. Let's see if the 7th crew, no, a little bit slow there. He's going to lose positions here on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like maybe 2 spots. Sure enough, Briscoe and Chastain beat him off of pit road. Allgaier,
that's huge.
Gained 6 spots, but a 2-tire change to get those spots.
That's a big, big deal for the 7 team. Losing spots on pit road. Their driver's going to line up. Not controlling this race. A couple fast cars up front. Jeff, you just said a minute ago this is going to be getting interesting, and you're right. Things like this happening late in this race.
Let's take a look at the stage points that have been earned tonight. Again, Allgaier sweeping both stages. He gets the 10 points for winning each stage, so 20 for him. Chastain and Briscoe coming in. Briscoe had a 3-point lead. Chastain has lost 3 points, so now it's a 6-point difference depending upon where they're running on the racetrack between those two for second in the regular season point standings.
So Austin Cindric came in running second. Watch the right front. Everything's clean so far, but watch the right front tire. It falls right there. Now it's on the hose. The hose got behind the car. Austin Cindric came in running second. Lost a lot of spots with that. Just kind of an unfortunate bounce in the way that tire ended up.
And these pit crews work so hard, practice every day, trying to make sure they do everything perfect, but the roll of a tire really kind of screwed up that pit stop for them. There you look at the comparison between Briscoe and Cindric. 4 seconds is a lot, and that's the difference between those two.
And in Bristol, what that does, it's a huge difference between starting on the front row versus starting where he's going to start. Now he's in the middle of the chaos. Now he's in the middle of where all the wrecks happen. So, you know, that you race so hard at Bristol to get your track position, and when you lose it, it exposes you to all types of danger.
I agree with that, but there's a time to be patient, and I think there's still a lot of time in this race where you can talk to your driver and say, hey, the 10 car was in the same position many laps ago. Ross had fallen all the way back to the backside of the top 10, and now has worked his way up into the top 2. So tell your driver, the 22, look, man, don't knock the nose off of it. Don't get yourself in a wreck and tear up the sides. Got a lot of laps here to get ourselves back to the front. Steve?
Well, you mentioned a lot of laps. As I see 123 laps to go. These cars can easily make that on fuel. The question is, how about tires? So you see right here, this is the original set of tires off Riley Herbst. The interesting thing, right side tires. You can see these pins right here? A lot of rubber left on the right side tires. The left side, though, you see a little bit here, a little bit here. 0 pins left. Wearing out left side tires. So Jeff Burton, I'd have to ask, in my mind, that's some of that sealer, some of that sprayed sticky stuff at the bottom of the racetrack, but left side tires wearing out. They may want to change tires if they get a yellow breaking up this final stage.
I think that's going to, you know, especially the left rear. You know, if you're loose, it's going to eat that left rear tire up.
Briscoe and Chastain making up row 1. Briscoe on the inside, Chastain on the outside. Stage 3 underway. Great fight for the lead. Chastain on the outside. Clears the 98, Chastain up front.
That was a great little run there. A couple corners for Chastain. Held the 98 tight, not allowing him to get into the throttle and accelerate off the corners.
Sieg back there in that 39 car on 2 tires, kind of holding everybody up.
Noah Gregson, Austin Cindric here. We'll see how Cindric battles through this traffic, and if he can. After a poor pit stop has put him back.
Well, Junior mentioned it. It's, you know, you're going to have to be patient, but Austin Cindric making a nice move right there, showing Noah he wants that bottom. You know, you have to be patient, but you can't be patient, right? You got the only way you're going to pass somebody is get right to their rear bumper. You don't have to move them out of the way to pass them, but you have to get close, and then they bobble just a little bit, and you're into the back of them.
And Noah's holding him up right dead in the center of the corner is where Noah seems to be having a little bit of trouble. And if he just bobbles a little, as you say, Jeff, he'll be able to take the position coming up off the corner.
And if you're
there it is
right there,
which Noah got slow. Kyle mentioned it, right in the middle of the corner, and there Austin was, and they made a little contact. It wasn't that Austin went in there and instigated the contact. It was that the 9 got slow. See the 20 underneath of Allgaier. Allgaier's dominated this race so far.
and Harrison had a great restart. On the outside, started in 4th, but instantly got down behind the 7 car of Allgaier and fell into position.
Let's watch here and see what Allgaier is struggling with. He really doesn't have a lot of grip with the back of the car. It's sliding up the racetrack off the bottom. 20's going to put the pressure on him right there, really waited on the throttle.
Justin's doing a really nice job of running that car on the bottom of the racetrack on corner exit right there, taking that lane away from Harrison.
Cindric's run these guys down. The 7 car is backing these guys up a little bit and allowing the 22 to come in here and try to become a part of this battle.
And now the battle gets harder for Harrison, right? It was when it was just the 7, he could try some things, but now he's got pressure from Cindric. If he makes a move the wrong way, then Cindric will take advantage of it.
This is through 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the screen.
So right there is where you have to be able to carry speed on corner exit. You just hope Justin Allgaier is going to make a mistake, but I wouldn't wait too long for that because Justin's so smooth. Dave.
Well, he doesn't have the car under him right now, Jeff. Whoa, you see a little bit of contact right there from the 22. The 7 cannot hold the bottom. Justin just radioed his crew way tighter this run.
But Allgaier pulling away now as Cindric was able to get by Harrison Burton.
Cindric, you know, had that bad pit stop, restarted several rows back, drove all the way up to 4th with good patience. He's back really in the middle of this fight to try to win this race. He's got speed on the 7 car. He's patient here, put together some great corners. He'll run him down, be able to put more pressure on him, get him up off the bottom, take 3rd place. It's crazy though, Justin, see that? Justin having a hard time keeping that car on the bottom of the racetrack, and 22 is going to be there in a second.
And when the 22 gets there, if Harrison stays right here, he'll be able to follow the 22 through.
Isn't it just crazy how Justin's, you know, dominated most of the races here. The last 3 races at Bristol, he's led all the laps. Here he is again with a dominant performance coming into stage 3, and they're losing the handle on this 7 car.
And once again, race leader in traffic, Ross Chastain, being held up just a bit. That allows Chase Briscoe to stay in contact. Chase Briscoe said every single race is an audition for him. Driving for Stewart-Haas Racing, and they have talked extensively about the Cup drivers that are over there for Stewart-Haas, and now Chase Briscoe, as he mentioned, an audition every time. As you see Cindric, and also in traffic here, 4 wide at Bristol. Contact made there between the 4 and 78. Stephen Parsons straightens it back out.
Justin went higher in the corner than anybody's been all night long. Got in the marbles, got into the fence just a little bit off of turn 4. Trying to go around all that lap traffic. He has got his hands full right now, and I bet he's super frustrated with the balance of this race car.
Allgaier all the way back to 6th now.
You said it, Junior. Look at all that dust, all that debris, and now Justin has all that on his tires, right? So Right there, a little contact by Cindric. Got the 4 up the racetrack, opened the bottom up. And Justin on the top of the racetrack, and all that debris right here. It's just picking up on the tires, and now he has no grip. And this next corner, he's not going to have any grip, and the next corner, he's not going to have any grip until all that gets run off the tires.
Cindric up to 3rd, Harrison Burton 4th, Riley Herbst now in the 5th position, Allgaier back in 6th.
And let's give Riley Herbst a shout out. I think Riley Herbst is the most improved driver in this series this year. You're starting to see him in that top 6, top 7 on a regular basis. He's done a really nice job learning as a young driver, not getting any practice time. Really made a big stride this year.
And really, Harrison and Riley, they're the 2 fighting for Rookie of the Year. Those 2 drivers with Joe Gibbs Racing. Right now, Harrison in front as we see the 74 of Bailey Currie.
Oh, he's got a spring come out of that car.
Yeah, springs on the racetrack.
Yeah. Wow.
Spring fell out of the right rear.
See the rear end working its way forward and back.
And caution. It's out on the track for debris.
I mean, he had to have a suspension failure, right? And then that spit the rear spring out of it. There's Bailey Currie. Look at all the sparks.
So Bailey Currie, the 23-year-old from Driftwood, Texas, brings out, this is the 6th caution of the night.
He was on the lead lap, running in 15th. So he's having a good night.
His program's gotten faster. These guys used to sit around the back of the field, start and park, do all those things. Over the course of this season, they've gotten to where they can compete, running the top 20 at times.
Yeah, you can see that right rear end is just no longer attached to the car, so the suspension failure right there. That's just there's the spring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mike Harmon Racing fielding the 74. Well,
that's required equipment, Rick. That's required equipment.
He's going to need that. We'll go to break, be right back with a restart. Playoffs for the Xfinity Series start next week under the lights. It's a Saturday night race, and it's at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Race coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Ross Chastain winless in 2020, out in front here with 94 laps to go. All right, Steve, you're on the grounds. Are we going to ever get you back to the booth here?
That's a debate. I'd love to say yes, but it's so awesome to be at the racetrack, Rick. I don't know if I can just commit joining you tomorrow night for the Cup race. But the one thing that's different from Cup to Xfinity is that tire count. We talk about it a lot. You mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast, 4 sets of tires, basically 3 in the pits to be used. All the leaders have 1 set of tires left. So a conversation on the radio for the 7 talking about is it too early to put them on? Jason Burnett in the end said 93 laps to go. If you know, we get more yellows and we've already put our set of tires on, we'll be definitely behind. So they decide to stay out here. But Dave, with 93 to go, I think it comes down to what crew chief and driver either get lucky or make the right choice of when to put their tires on.
One thing we know for sure on the 7, they need to get a correction on that handling. Listen.
Yeah, my center is, I just don't have any grip at all in the center, and I got to really slow down, and then I'm just all out of the track on exit now.
10-4, this set of tires has got to be messed up.
So disappointing after dominating this race so far. He was asked this week if after losing in June with that contact from his teammate kind of gave up a spot and Noah Gragson took it, does he want redemption tonight? And he said, more than you know. He's got some work to do now.
That just proves to me, guys, that, you know, it looks loose because it is loose off. But Dale Jr., you know, it sounds like it's either on the splitter or the tires aren't working as well. The tight through the middle gets all that steering wheel in it, and then when it finally does turn, it is sideways for the 7.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been out of the racetrack. Out of the racetrack means it feels like it's not glued to the track. Very unhooked. See if the cycle on tires improves it any. Coming to the restart, the 10 car on the outside, holding him tight. It's a great launch. Briscoe spins the tires on the inside, down him in turn 1. Harrison Burton on the outside, fighting hard, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd say Harrison's on the inside. The 22 and the 20 look the same. They're the same colors.
Cedric to second. Great recovery for him.
Pretty strong move by Cedric right there to take second from Chase Briscoe.
Allgaier and 18 car. There, Riley Herbst, a little bit of contact. That's so normal. Corner exit, just move the bottom a little bit, hit doors on the front on the straightaway. Just a little bit of contact there as well, I think. Well, Allgaier's car may not be driving well, but he is never going to quit. That guy right there is going to fight all night long, no matter what. There's that 21 of Alfredo. Keep talking about him.
Riley gets a little bit loose right there off the bottom of 4. Anthony not able to take advantage of it.
2 young drivers at Bristol. That always makes me a little nervous.
Noah Gragson sneaking in on this fight.
Noah's car has gone away a little bit as well.
Yeah, imagine, you know, he's had some contact with the left front wheel, right front wheel a couple times. Can knock the toe around on these cars a little bit. They're real sensitive and lose a little bit of turn in the middle of the corner.
You know, one thing too, Junior, is that I think Bristol, maybe more than other racetracks, it changes every time you take off. Like your car drives a certain way, you get a caution, you take off, and it drives completely different. You're always guessing how your car is going to drive on restarts.
Yeah, you pick up a lot of debris, and the cycle on the tires does change. You've got to keep those tires clean under caution, working the wheel back and forth. Dave.
Let's give you a Toyota driver update with Riley Herbst leading this group there in that black number 18. By the way, the 21-year-old from Las Vegas gets to go home next week to start the playoffs, and that'll be exciting because he is in. It has been an interesting year so far for him. He was asked this week if it has lived up to expectations, and he said, kind of. We should have won by now. Now remember, in June, he was the restart leader in the final stage. The problem was that he only had 2 tires changed on that race car between stages. It was a gamble that Dave Rogers, the crew chief, took. It did not work out, and he ended up with a little bit of a wrecked race car. But he's showing tonight he can handle the high banks of Bristol, running 6th.
It's probably the same angle that he has to negotiate when he's out there wake surfing. He took that up while all of this has been going on with COVID. As we see the 10, 22, and 98, that separation between Ross Chastain, Cindric, and Briscoe, the top 3.
Briscoe rolling in on this 22 car. Seems to be really rolling the corner better. They kind of trade off corners. Pretty evenly matched Fords right there in second, third. Trying to close in on this 10 of Chastain. Chastain has done a great job. They lost the handle a little bit on that car. Lost track position, had a few bad pit stops, but worked his way back up to the front to lead this race.
I think entering the playoffs starting next week, I don't think you want to give Ross Chastain a lot of confidence. We talked about it all night, how aggressive he is. You know, they've been able to kind of, without him winning, that matters, right? Ross is not as confident as these other guys are. Hadn't been winning races. Well, you give that guy right there some confidence after winning, going into the playoffs, that could be some momentum that's hard to deal with.
This is the most laps that Ross has led in a race this year. That is so hard to believe.
Well, Ross Chastain has only 2 stage wins, 2 playoff points in 2020, and no wins. Dylan.
And Rick, that's why this win, if they're able to hold on for 75 laps, couldn't come at a better time, because if they do go into the playoffs with just those 2 points, they're going to be back at 8th and have a hole to dig themselves out of. So obviously they want to win whenever they can, but it would come at a very, very good time. And behind him, Austin Cindric, as you see him get passed by Chase Briscoe there. This is a good run for Cindric at Bristol. At the start of he and crew chief Brian Wilson's relationship, they felt like this racetrack was really a weak link, but Austin has really grown as a driver here, kind of started lost and has figured it out as he goes, and as a result, the car has kind of been developed around him, which obviously adds to his confidence around this racetrack. Dave?
Chase Briscoe gets by him for 2nd place now, and Chase told me this week he kind of pieced together a 2nd place finish here in June. They had maybe a 7th place race car, but they made it work. The reason was there was something they did last year here where he finished in the top 5 both times that they didn't do at the start of this year. Kind of tried something new. That did not work. They took it back out, and you can tell the 98 is back in form and chasing down Ross Chastain.
So here's something we saw just a little bit ago from Austin Cindric that we didn't see a year ago or 2 years ago. Watch this. Hand out the window, waving the 98 of Briscoe by. With only 71 laps to go at Bristol. Why did he do that? Because he knew that his car wasn't as good. Look how much room Briscoe has gotten in front of Cindric. Cindric not wanting to be in his way, not wanting to get wrecked, ended up just waving him by, saying, I'm going to make my car better later and come back at you, but right now is not the time to battle. That is Austin Cindric maturing. That's not something we would have seen from that guy a year ago.
Regular season champ, 2 winningest drivers, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric. But right now, it's all Ross Chastain out front as we go NASCAR nonstop. Laps going quick, 59 to go from Bristol. It's Ross Chastain out front, Briscoe running second, Cindric, Harrison Burton, Allgaier all in the top 5. Chastain trying to put together perfect laps, lap after lap, Dylan.
And Rick, we've seen that gap between he and Chase Briscoe shrink with each passing lap. Part of the issue for Chastain here may be the fact he's cornered the left front on every single run. Each time they come off the track and change tires, that left front has been corded. So one would assume that he's battling a similar issue here. So maybe Junior and Jeff can explain what that feeling is like or what it does to the car. But now, we got big problems here on the racetrack.
Yeah, Dexter Bean in the 90 around, bringing the caution out. And Steve Letarte and you guys on pit road have told us that one set of tires for those guys. So we would expect to see everyone on pit road now to try to use those fresh Goodyears.
Absolutely, Rick. This is the time. 56 laps to go in the race. Even if a caution comes halfway through this 50-lap run, you got to put your tires on now if you're any of the front 10 or 12 cars. If someone in the back wants to gamble and stay out, that's fine. But the problem with that gamble is very easy to get run over and wrecked. So I think everybody on the lead lap is going to be looking for 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
And right now there's 14 that are on the lead lap. Timmy Hill is the first car scored a lap down, probably will get the free pass. And that'll be 15 on the lead lap as they're coming at you, Dylan.
And here comes Austin Cindric once again as he works into his stall. The balance has been okay with each run. They're just missing a little bit something there, and you saw him get passed by Chase Briscoe and then drive away. Just another air pressure adjustment here, 4 tires and fuel for Austin Cindric. Harrison Burton a little bit further up, top right of your screen, down 1 round on the right rear track bar. Chassis adjustment for him. Chastain going to go around and get 4 new tires. We talked about him cording that left front. We'll go down and look at this one that just came off the car, but 4 tires and fuel for Chastain, Dave.
Chase Briscoe in the 98 was running second. He'll come down for an adjustment here, just a little bit tight at the end. Top of your screen, Noah Gragson, he needs an adjustment as well to make the 9 better. It's kind of fallen off here at the end. And speaking of falling off, the car that was so dominant early, bottom of your screen, that red 7 for Justin Allgaier, they're going to now take a swing at it, try to get some of the adjustments that didn't work out of the race car. And with just 52 or so to go at the end of this race, they need something special.
Race off pit road, Chastain holding his top spot. We'll be back for the restart.
We come full circle and you look at the legacy that you and Aldo started with that Hudson at Nazareth. Would you have ever dreamed as an 8-year-old boy of a refugee camp in Italy that this is where your life would lead you?
The only answer I have to that is that only in America. It could have only happened here. Early part of my life, it seemed like the most impossible thing could ever happen. America gave me those opportunities and provided everything that we could possibly hope for a family.
Coffee with Kyle That is available on Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. And Kyle sitting down with maybe one of the greatest race car drivers ever in the world.
Arguably. Let me say, between 63 and 78, the greatest race car driver. I mean, Indianapolis 500, Daytona 500, 24 hours of Le Mans, or 24 hours of Daytona, Sebring, a Formula One world champion. So many amazing things and so versatile. Never spoke to a driver in my whole life who could do what he could do.
And what was it that surprised you about Mario, that you learned?
What surprised me was that he spent 7 years of his life in a refugee camp in Italy there. I knew that he had spent time, but 7 years. They started over when he was 7 or 8 years old when they went into the refugee camp, started over again when he was 14 or 15, and he and Aldo and their family moved to America. An amazing story.
That whole story, Coffee with Kyle, again, on the NBC YouTube channel. They're getting ready to choose here, Junior. Pretty important this time.
Yeah, this is absolutely important. You see that 22 going to the inside, 98 to the inside. I thought he might try to start in that outside line as the inside struggled a little bit. Those first 2 rows are probably the most critical, the decisions those guys made. Let's see if that pays off for them. Briscoe, if that 22 spins the wheels, Cindric spins the tires, could cost Briscoe a few more spots.
Hey, Junior, Briscoe radioed to his crew, I think I can drive it in harder if I take the bottom line at the restart.
If there's nobody in front of him, that's great.
I hope Cindric didn't hear that.
Yeah.
How about Allgaier in that outside lane? Had the dominant car early. They put another set of tires on it. Let's see if they've gotten that car better. He was starting to roll at the end of that run. It gotten the car better. Not as good as it was, but let's see if they made it good enough to go back and win this race.
Only 49 laps. Look at this. Look how aggressive they are as they're coming up to the restart zone.
That's awesome.
Right back into the gas. Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric fighting for the lead at Bristol.
Cindric still right there on the quarter panel. Chastain can't quite get to the bottom yet. Gets a little bit loose right there. He's losing it. Cindric to the lead. Chastain now has to follow.
How aggressive is that 10 car?
He wants to win. He wants to win badly.
Remember that early run speed for the Penske car. I think that's going to frustrate the 10 of Chastain not to be able to get right back to him. Can he be patient?
The top 4 settle it out, at least get back into line. It's Cindric, Chastain, Briscoe, Allgaier.
You talked about it earlier, Junior. You talked about the 22 car of Cindric having that short-term speed, just as their Cup cars have.
Alfredo trying to get back to the bottom. He got really loose the lap before in the 19. Brandon Jones was able to get underneath him. Alfredo did a nice job of getting back to the bottom to keep that whole bottom lane from getting by him.
So the 9 of Gregson get into the back of the 8 there of Burton. It's Jeb Burton in the 8.
Jeb's having a hard time keeping the car low.
These 2 are teammates as well, Junior Motorsports.
You see right there, Noah is able to roll the middle of the corner really well right there, but there's nothing he can do with it. As long as Jeb runs the bottom of the racetrack on corner exit, unless Noah wants to move him out of the way, it's a really hard pass. This is one of the hardest racetracks to pass on, with the bottom is a dominant lane.
And in the last segment, we saw Noah not be able to roll the middle, and we saw the 22 of Austin Cindric have to move him a little bit out of the way. Here we see Jeb ease up the racetrack a little bit, and Noah gets position on him.
Dynamics so different between teammates like this. Noah runs every single week. Jeb only gets a few opportunities.
Saw Brandon Brown get into the back bumper there. Jeb, the 19 way up high, and Brandon Jones was Anthony Alfredo in that 21 just in front of him, but for how long?
Anthony's done a good job. We saw him almost get lapped early in the race. He's been patient. For a young driver, you would expect him to be the one making the mistakes out on this racetrack, but he's kept the nose on that car, kept the fenders clean, sits here in 6th place.
And let's give what is now the ARCA Series a little contact right here between these 2 guys.
And remember Texas between the 18 and the 9. Riley's not going to get a chance to get back there and repay the favor. Jeb Burton's going to go the inside. Back up front. Traffic for the 22 car, Cindric.
And they move out of the way, and Cindric goes by, and you see what Ross Chastain has to deal with. Let's listen into his radio.
Nice and smooth. He'll back up to us. Calm me down. Trying to calm everybody down, I guess. You calm tonight. Haven't you been proud? I have.
Chris Rice, you hear him on the radio a lot with the 10 and the 11. 4 runner-up finishes already for Ross Chastain, and that's where he's running right now. Steve.
Well, Rick, you just heard that radio from Ross Chastain. You heard all that feedback, all that noise in the background. That's what makes this racetrack so difficult. As I stand right here with a mask on down in the corner, you can hear me pretty clear with the microphone right here, but as I move the microphone away, that's what I say. You can't hear a word I'm saying until I get it right here, and I'm telling you, spotters, crew chief, drivers, they're going to have to be very clear with their communication in these closing 34 laps.
Lesson learned there. Keep the microphone real close to your mouth, Steve.
It's 10 car here closing in on this 22. A little bit of lap traffic up there in front of them, running side by side.
The gap just under 0.4 of a second. And as you mentioned, side by side in front of Austin Cindric.
Oh, this is
nowhere
really
to go.
Slow him up right here.
Now the 10 is to his bumper.
Now the lap traffic gives us both the leaders the bottom. Oh, Chastain, yeah. He's going to give him the bumper. I was wondering if he'd get right to business.
Right to business? He didn't give him a corner. He got right to it.
He has not won a race all year long. 22 top 10 finishes in 25 races.
Here he goes.
And this is Bristol. Oh, everybody wants to win at Bristol.
He'll slip.
Keep the pressure, you just heard. He'll slip. How much pressure?
He could have gotten into the back of him a few times here. He is being patient.
That's Ross Briscoe right to them.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, can't be too patient. Briscoe is right there now.
Interesting. Ryan Blaney, who's in a position where he's got to win a race, made the comment earlier. He said, if anybody is in front of me and I'm faster, I'm not waiting any time to move him out of the way. Under 20 laps to go. There's the gap between 1 and 2. Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, And throw in a little Chase Briscoe running third right now. If Ross Chastain gets back to the bumper of the 22, I don't think he's going to be as nice.
He had a chance to get him up out of the way. Didn't do it for whatever reason. The 22's been able to drive back away from him and get pretty much a comfortable lead. It's closed up just a little bit because of the lap traffic that just passed. But Chastain, I think if he gets another shot at that rear bumper, he's going to hit him harder this time.
And there's more lap traffic. This is 18 to go. We've seen how much lap traffic has affected these leaders.
Well, the 22 missed the bottom. 22 missed the bottom just a little bit right there. Pushing hard. See, a lot more cleaner right there. Coming up on a lap car. That's such a great shot. I'm surprised that bumper cam's hung with us all night long.
Well, the race isn't over.
And he might be using it here shortly. Listen in to Austin Cindric's radio.
Power steering, 4 laps to go.
Uh-oh.
No power steering. Maybe that's why he can't hit the bottom.
That's going to be really difficult to hit your marks with Chastain. I mean, that's going to be, if he can pull this off, I'm going to be amazed.
These cars are so much harder to drive today without power steering than what we would have. You know, Dale Earnhardt ran and won a race at Bristol 1985 with no power steering. But those cars were different. They set the caster up to help those cars turn. Oh man, look at
how about Briscoe?
Oh, he's using up that 10. He's going to get him off the bottom if he ain't careful.
Well, you wonder also, we heard, look right here, this is a good run. This is a really good run. We heard him say he doesn't have power steering. Well, did all the other teams relay that information to these drivers?
It wouldn't really matter because they're not running over him. They're not catching him. They're not able to catch him.
If you could ever get to him and just put the bumper to him a little bit, Cindric would have a hard time maneuvering his car.
Yeah.
Look at Briscoe. Got to run right here.
Briscoe moved the 10 out of the way. Now, Chastain on that high line trying to fight for that second spot.
Contact, big contact right there.
They hit again. Chastain up the racetrack. Briscoe goes by.
That hurt Chastain worse than it hurt Briscoe.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that damaged that left rear tire anyway. Chastain's car is going away quickly. See how it knocked all the letters off. Big contact.
Stay in touch here.
Those two
clear, all clear.
Fighting for second in the regular season point standings. Briscoe and Chastain.
Does Briscoe have enough time? Seemed to have a lot of speed in his car before that contact with Chastain.
Look at this battle right here. Alfredo moving Algar out of the way.
Anthony Alfredo in the 21. The 21-year-old. His first ever Xfinity Series Bristol start.
Briscoe has cut that lead in half.
Yeah, Briscoe's going to be there. He is going to get there.
Look at the 22 fighting.
He's there. Now, 7 laps to go from Bristol.
I think Briscoe's the one that got the message that the power steering was out.
Sure, you just got to go get it.
Go get it right there. You heard it.
Oh, that's the permission slip to do that right there.
Losing ever so slightly.
Just a little.
That's how you do it.
Briscoe. He talked earlier this week about needing to get back into the rhythm, needing to get back into the winning ways that this team had been able to do as the 10 gets on the back bumper now of the 22.
22's going to move out of the way. Let Ross go through here. Has Ross regrouped? Does Ross have the speed? 5 laps to go.
I'm going to tell you guys, Austin Cindric hanging on that long is impressive. I did not think he could do it as long as he did. No power steering. You said it, Junior. It's not the same as it was when you didn't race with power steering. You can hardly turn the car.
Guys, we just saw Chase Briscoe get behind the 22, and would you call that a bump and run? What he did?
He just smoothed him out of the way nicely.
Because he told us he's not good at the bump and run. That's what he said. I can't do the bump and run at Bristol. But right there, he might have executed the perfect pass. He's out in front, under 3 laps to go. Ross Chastain behind him, but 0.8 of a second back.
Somebody taught him how to do it, because that looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming up on the white flag. one more time around. The 6-time winner in 2020 made the comment early on he thought it would take 8 wins. He threw the number out to advance into the Cup Series. He said every race is an audition. Well, I think this is the best audition you can do. Chase Briscoe wins at Bristol.
These boys think we're going to give up after last week. They're wrong. Great job, buddy. Hell of a job. Great job, pit crew.
Referencing Richmond from a week ago where they said they were terrible.
Crew Chief Richard Boswell has this team believing in themselves, recapturing the top of the heap here as the team going into the playoffs with the best shot at the title.
It's interesting too, guys. We spoke to Chase this week and we asked him, are you concerned? You've not been running as well as we saw you early in the year. And he was like, yeah, not really. Like, we've been trying some stuff. We're going to be okay. And after those comments, he comes and wins this race. That's got to be a huge confidence boost.
Richard Boswell right there. Comes from a racing family, a driver himself.
Celebrating in front of fans also. We've heard the driver say how much that means to him. And a limited number of fans available, or made available tickets to this weekend's racing. And they were treated with a great one here.
And a special racetrack. This track has such great history, and there's not another track on the series like it. There's nothing shaped like this track, nothing that provides us with the same excitement as Bristol. He's going to get to drive up that ramp onto the elevated victory lane.
He parks on top of a building.
Oh, it's so much fun. And you're going to do a burnout up that. You're going to. You see everybody else do it. Such a great guy with a great attitude, been through a lot.
You see the checkered flag stickers behind they call it the B post, on the car there. He had the most coming into this race. He's going to add another one. 7 wins in 2020 for Chase Briscoe.
Also, guys, that ties him with playoff points with Austin Cindric heading into these playoffs. It was a huge win.
Because the bonuses that are given out at the end of the regular season, we know that Austin Cindric is going to get 15 bonus points, 10 because Chase Briscoe finished second in the regular season, but this win gives him those other 5 points that he was looking for. Let's hear from him. Let's go down to Dave.
And he's hearing from the fans right now. How about that? Fans in the stands, man.
I am so thankful that we are back with the race fans. You guys are the best. Heck yeah. It's not the same without you guys. We can't wait to get you guys back all the time. But, man, what a race.
Yeah, that was incredible. Are you the same guy who once maybe told us you weren't very good at the bump and run here at Bristol?
Yeah, I was so mad after last week. And I told all the guys, there ain't no way we're getting beat today. I was so mad after how we ran last week. And you know, I get on the internet all the time and see guys counting us out after one bad race, and I know what this team's capable of, and just so happy to get Ford Forest Racing School back in victory lane. Highpoint.com. I finished second here the last 2 races. I've wanted to win here so bad, and it's awesome that I can actually celebrate with all these race fans.
Can you take this momentum? A win at Dover recently, not so great last week, but now some momentum here at Bristol. Can you take this into the playoffs at Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we won Vegas earlier in this year, and I don't know, we need to take this car to Phoenix. This is our Dover car. This is the car we're in here tonight. So, yeah, I'm looking really forward to going to Vegas. I feel like our mile-and-a-half program is where we're the best, and I really want to win Vegas so we don't have to worry about Talladega or the Roval. It'd make our life a lot easier, but can't wait to get these playoffs going. I feel like we're on a really good run.
Huge smile, big win tonight in front of all these fans for Chase Briscoe.
The regular season is done. The playoffs start next week. And when you mention momentum, he's got it now. Chase Briscoe taking the checkered flag at Bristol. It's a racetrack that he had finished second twice. Wanted that checkered flag here. He's been able to do it. The 12-man field is set.